I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
I want to talk about the Delaware County Council. As I have been talking to all of you over the last couple of days, really about the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been talking to you about the Delaware County Council and this reorganizational meeting that they were going to hold today at 9 a.m. At the beginning of each year of their term, the various councils will elect their leadership. It just dictates who runs the meeting. Now, that can affect us because if you get someone that is really open to having the citizens speak and be heard, then that's really good for the citizens. But if you get someone that is not willing to be open and is, wants to rule with an iron fist and, act like a complete ass bag, then that's not good. And, like we've seen that in Madison County with Ben Gale. Thank God he's gone. We've seen that on the Muncie City Council in several years back. The council was not as open to citizen interjection. That always is a problem. So for the last couple of years, Jessica Piper has been the council president, and she has been a disaster. Jessica Piper has not ruled the council with the county's best intentions in mind. She has not ran the council, from a position of wanting to be willing to communicate and be open. She is very non-transparent. She does not like to communicate. She refuses to answer emails. She just really, really does not like the whole public service part of being a public servant. She loves the power that she feels like she has. She loves how important or self-important it makes her feel. But outside of that, she hates, I think, everything else about it. She just does not like public service. For the last couple of years, I have been very adamant in the need to remove Jessica from the presidency. And I have been very clear in what I wanted to happen. I wanted William Hughes to be president and Matt Kantz to be vice president. Now, everyone knows that I have had a love-hate relationship with Matt Kantz. We're on again, off again. I think secretly deep down, I'm his spirit animal, but, I won't hold that against him. It is what it is. He wishes that in one of these days when he grows up, he wants to be me. But again, I won't hold that against him. I'm just like, hey, in order to do that, you've got to be willing to ask the tough questions. You've got to be willing to say the things that need to be said out loud. And you need to not worry about hurting Jessica's feelings or the party's feelings, because you work for the people, not the party. Okay. And he ran on a promise of communicating and a promise of transparency and all of this. Now, he's done a pretty good job 50% of the time. And then 50% of the time, he's not. And it's been wishy-washy. And I have said, listen, I'm going to be honest. Today is the second day of the year. Okay. And all of the shit about Ryan Webb being on the land bank, I don't give two shits about the land bank. I wish he was in the Delaware County Councilor seat. I missed him being there today, and the shenanigans and the bullshit that went on there today is a reason why Webb is needed on the council. All right. And we're going to explore those reasons. Right now, we're talking about Dan Flanagan from District 1, William Hughes from District 2, Matt Kantz from District 3, Jim Mokel from District 4, Jessica Piper at large, Eugene Whitehead at large, and the newly elected Bradley Bookout at large. They make up your 7 council members. The public has not trusted that body, and it's not trusted that body for some very important reasons, because they don't do well with the public. It feels like they don't want the public to be part of the public process. They don't want to hear from the public. Delaware County government is very closed off. They have their meetings in the mornings, so already half of the population can't be there because they're working, doing other important things. So, and then the people that do come there, they get treated like crap. They get cut off. It's just a very cold atmosphere. It's not inviting. They're not trying to meet us where we are. Okay. So my dream team for leading the council since Bill Hughes has been on would be that Bill Hughes would be the president. And really at that point, vice president doesn't matter. Vice president, the only power the vice president has is they serve, the pro tem serves when the president is absent for some reason. So if the president is always there, as they should be, the vice president means nothing. Okay. So it doesn't really matter who the vice president is, but I've wanted Bill Hughes to be the president since he's been on the council. Now, Bill has not wanted to take that seat. He is up there in years. He has a wife that they do things. He's been an attorney for a number of years, and he's just serving his time, and he does a good job, but he does not want to be president. And so, hey, you can't force him to be president. All right. What next? I have long held that if Matt Kantz was out from under Jessica's tyrannical, bizarre leadership, that Kantz would probably be better as a counselor. So I've said, okay, well, if Hughes isn't going to be the president, then I want Kantz to be the president. Well, lo and behold, Jessica Piper, for the last 2 years, has been telling Kantz, hey, I want to groom you as the president. So when I hand it down, when I don't want to do it anymore, in a year or two, I want to hand this over to you. Now, that kind of shocked me that she said that, but everyone that I've ever talked to about this, I said, she's saying this, she's doing this. I want to make you the president. I'm going to make you the president. I always said she is not going to hand this over to Matt Kantz. She's saying she wants to, but the problem that I have with Matt Kantz is the same problem that Jessica has with Matt Kantz. He rides the fence. When I am mad at Matt Kantz for sometimes doing things that I like and a lot of times not doing things that I like, well, that means she has that same problem, because the times that he's doing the things that I want him to do, she doesn't like that. So I have long said Jessica is not going to let him be president. She's not going to, or at least she's not going to hand it over to him. She's not going to be part of putting him in the presidency. But everybody said that. And for what it's worth, she lied. In my opinion, she lied directly to Matt. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. So we've been waiting for this vote today, 9 a.m. on Thursday, the 2nd. Big vote. Now, I'm going to tell you, what happens is people make plans, and then someone talks to a wife, someone talks to the family member, someone talks to their friend, and stuff starts leaking out. And so sometime last week, it started making its way to me that Eugene Whitehead was campaigning to his fellow councilors because he wanted to be president. And the reason I've been given that he wanted to be president is because he just didn't know that he could trust Matt Kantz. He just didn't know if Matt Kantz was playing the same game the rest of them were. He didn't like the limited times that Matt has stood up and asked questions. Eugene didn't like that for whatever reason. It blows my mind that questions are bad, but it is what it is. So Eugene started going and and talking to all of his fellow councilors saying that he wanted to be president. Well, when we all tuned into the meeting today, and I'm going to play bits and pieces of this, I got to say I'm really disappointed because we live streamed from the county's feed. The county pays Mark Slusher, Endpoint Creative, to live stream their meetings. And I don't know how many times you have to say this. You know how crazy I am about it here on the show. When you can't hear, it doesn't matter if my picture's freezing. It doesn't matter if you can see me or not see me. If you can't hear me, if the audio is bad, it's unwatchable. And I don't understand why Mr. Endpoint Creative Mark Slusher cannot figure this out. While we all turned on today to watch this shit show of an audio and video presentation, nobody knew that what we were watching was an absolute farce. It was a play. It didn't matter. What we were watching and what we were attempting to listen to just simply didn't matter. Now, you're going to say, well, wait a minute, why didn't it matter? And I'm going to say, because none of it was real. What we witnessed today was already decided yesterday in a room with 6 of the 7 council people, along with their attorney and the Republican Party leader, who's also the auditor, Ed Carroll. They all decided what was going to go down today. They decided it yesterday. They went as far as taking votes where they all walked off in secret rooms with Ed and gave their words because Ed didn't want there to be 2 or 3 or 4 nominations. He didn't want there to be this battle between Kance and Eugene. He wanted Kance to sit down, to shut up, and to know his role because they had made the decision last week to put Eugene into place. Now, let me tell you, I'm going to be sure that you're understanding what I'm saying. Your elected Delaware County Council, who understand that they have to do things in the presence of the public, met in a secret room from about 2 or 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon till 5 or 6. Took them several hours to vote on all of these boards. They voted who they were going to place where and who was going to be here and there. And then they finally voted on who was going to be their president. Now, I'm going to let them know something. Voting on the president, unfortunately, although I don't like it, and it lets us know as citizens to not trust these people at all. We know as a public that these people are willing to go behind our backs. Technically, it's okay because they're all Republicans. They can caucus, and it's not an open door because all that is picking their leadership. It's not any actual business. However, the fact that they voted and they picked who they were going to put in places in the boards and the appointments, that makes it a problem. So I talked with Luke Britt today, and it's an uphill battle. I know it's an uphill battle. I don't know how it'll go, but I will be filing a complaint against them. We'll make their attorney do some work and have to write. The fact that this is what's really disgusting to me. They were all in attendance. The only person not in attendance was Bill Hughes. And when I first heard that, I was happy. But then I heard Bill had went as far as saying if they needed his vote, call him. And that makes me have an issue with Bill because Bill's an attorney and knows better. And I don't care. This is what I talk about when I talk to these idiots. Listen, let me explain this. And I mean idiots because they're too bloody stupid to understand it's this kind of bullshit that causes people to not trust them. Save the bullshit, Matt. I don't want to hear it. It was wrong. I don't care that a code says it's technically right, you, sir, were not elected to sit in that meeting and get the screwing that you got. I don't care to hear it, Jessica Piper, self-righteous, self-important twit. Listen to what I'm telling you. You were not elected to make decisions in closed-door rooms because you're afraid of the process playing out like it's supposed to. Why are we afraid of letting the process play out like it's supposed to? Why couldn't your pea brains, Eugene and Mokel and Flanagan, why couldn't you guys go sit in a room at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday and you guys hash it out between you in front of us for the first time? I don't give a damn what Ed Carroll wants. Ed Carroll is a worthless nobody. He shouldn't be auditor of the county. He shouldn't be Republican chair. And Ben Freeman, what is your deal? I don't know, like, if he practices law outside of this, but I certainly wouldn't go to him for a lawyer. I would not do business with Beasley Gilkinson if this is the kind of law practice that they are going on with, to give people the bad advice that, yeah, it's okay that all of you Republicans, all of you council members, a quorum, you can all sit there. How do we know they don't get, luckily a couple different sources came forward and told me this, or else we wouldn't have known. What happens the times when a source doesn't come forward and tell me about this? What happens when that happens? What decisions do they decide on without us knowing? And you know what? If the answer is none, if the answer is this is the only time this has ever happened, I don't give a damn. It's still wrong. I want all of you to resign. None of you are worthy enough to sit your asses in the chair, because what you're going to do is you're going to give me some kind of excuse of why this was okay. And I'm tired of excuses. Your public is tired of excuses. You are all supposed to be Republicans, right? You're supposed to be Republicans, right? You love Donald Trump, right? You want Donald Trump to come in and clean up. You like Doge because you want to get rid of waste and abuse. Let me tell you, idiots, something. You're the waste and abuse. If you extrapolate yourselves out and put yourselves in federal government, you're the waste and abuse that your hero is writing in to get rid of. How about that? How about that? How does that work? Isn't that amazing? For all of you that get up and you clap and you cheer and you talk about how wonderful Todd Young is, and you praise Mike Braun and all these people that you praise, who all then go on and praise Trump. You're praising Trump because he's coming in and stopping the status quo. You're the status quo that you're wanting him to disrupt. You guys are the worthless waste excuse government that has led Americans to hate the system here. If only we could get Trump to give us some Doge here at the state level and here at the local level, we would be rid of 90% of the elected officials in the state. From state government, J.D. Prescott, Scott Alexander, all of you boot-looking, I only care about my friends, I only care about my network, I only care about how it makes me feel and what it makes me look like, and the Jessica Pipers that only care about their next campaign and keeping up their appearances, and we don't like the Webbs, and we don't like the Troy Ingrams, and we don't like Amber Green. We don't like the people that look different than us, or that think different than us, or that do and say things differently than us. You people, like, how do you clear that in your mind? How do you rectify that? How do you rectify being leader of the Republican Party, Ed Carroll, and being the absolute definition of the thing that your big hero is getting rid of? How do you spin that in your mind? It blows my mind. So they put on a big act today, and for all the crap I'm giving Kantz, I will tell you, because a couple people said, wait a minute, Kantz, he nominated himself. That's crazy. No, listen, I applaud him for doing that. Because let me tell you, when he did that, that allowed him to speak up and to question Eugene. And there was this weird, well, I don't even know what Eugene said. I want to listen to this, what we can hear of it. And folks, I apologize about the audio. There's nothing we can do about it. It is what it is. We'll suffer through it. We'll talk about it, but I want you guys to hear this. This is important.
At this point, we're open to nominations for the position as president of the council.
And let me tell you why we know that this was a fix from the minute that Bookout won. Bookout and Piper and Eugene all started spinning this little deal, because we've got the man who is new here, is the first person to speak up in this. Hey, I know that you were on the council 12 years ago, Democrat Bookout, but why don't you just sit back a second and take it easy, okay? Like, no, he needed to get out for I want to make it Eugene right now, because he knew what he was doing. Let me tell you, he was at that meeting yesterday.
Mr. Auditor, I would like to nominate Mr. Eugene Whitehead as president.
Second.
Now, keep in mind that everybody knew that Kantz was going, that was just kind of the thing it wasn't, they didn't do it in the cover of darkness. It was an outwardly spoken, known deal that Kantz is the vice president. Piper or one of the other guys was going to nominate him, and he was going to be voted in. But look, Ryan's gone. So the only person on this council that we have with the very only possibility of scratching at things that don't seem right and asking questions if something's wrong, the only possibility of that is Kantz. So for all of you that are like, well, Kantz does this and Kantz does that, look, I get it. It's a wild card. It's a Hail Mary. But I don't want Eugene as president. Hughes has said he will not take it. I don't want Mokel as president. Halftime, he don't even seem like he's at the same meeting that everybody else is. Dan Flanagan is only there to do what Piper wants. I don't want Piper to be the president. I don't want Bookout to be the president. So, yeah, I'd rather give it to Kantz, and maybe we could see him blossom into something better. Maybe not, but it's 50-50, all right? I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, but because of that, because I come on and say things like I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, they don't want him to be up there because of that very reason. So Bookout has said, I nominate Eugene Whitehead. All right, let's hear what happens.
We're doing one. The only nomination that's open at the moment is for president.
And my motion to nominate Mr. Eugene Whitehead as president.
Okay, so Bookout made it, and Flanagan seconded it. Okay, good. Nice puppies. Oh, I'm glad that you know your role.
Eugene, would you be willing to share a few words on your board and want to be president? Sure. Do you want to wait for the nomination to close before we do that? Do we have other nominations for president? I have a nomination.
Okay. So, Kantz, as a counselor who's going to be voting on this, ask if Eugene would like to speak and say, like, what he's hoping to achieve as president or why he wants to be president. Like, Eugene, and let me tell you, Eugene sits here doing his thing. He approached this having an attitude. He wanted Kantz to know his role, and let's just get this figured out, and you just be tough and you deal with it. Look, Eugene just recently was elected. He was first put on this as a caucus. So it's not like Eugene is some political mastermind. He's not been here as long as Kantz has been. And So, like, I don't know why he's so hostile to Kantz, other than he knows that Kantz from time to time asks questions that are uncomfortable. So then Eugene says, well, do you want to wait till the nominations close before I speak? And they said, well, are there any other nominations? And then Kantz says, well, I have a nomination. And then this happens.
I'm happy to hear that first. What's your direct question? Well, I would just say, would you be willing to share why you want to be in the current? Sure. I mean, I feel like as president of the council, everybody that sits up here needs to be fully behind the president.
Okay. All right. So he said, sure, I want to be president because I feel like everybody that sits up here needs to be fully behind the president. What does that mean? No, they don't. That's as stupid as Dale Basham saying, as counselor, I'm going to be a voice and a vote for the mayor. No, as Eugene, that's not the point. You don't, as a counselor, your allegiance is to the public, to the people, not to whoever the president is. That is the most ignorant, idiotic statement I've ever heard. He should have been laughed out of there for that statement alone. You want me to tell you what all this is about? They are afraid. The government in Delaware County does not want the council to work with Brand. That is what this is all about. They don't want there to be harmonious action unless it's harmonious action behind King and behind Shannon and behind Brooke and behind Ed and weird money appropriations and money issues here and money issues there. They want the power and the yes to be behind them. They don't want that to be behind the other side. Let's continue on here and hear more of his nonsense.
And with discussions inside this building and outside this building, I feel like the leadership that we currently have does not have 100% support. Those that sit up here and those that sit out in the audience. Therefore, I'd like to put my name. The
leadership that sits up there does not currently have support. Who's he talking about? It does Whitehead mean that he doesn't support Jessica Piper? What can he do to show that he hasn't always been over backwards to kiss her ass? He hasn't always done every single thing that she's wanted. He makes it seem like he's talking to Kantz. But let me remind the mouth breather that the president is Jessica Piper. So you saying, Eugene, that you and others don't support Jessica? Because if that's what you're saying, that's laughable. What little nonsensical words he barked out there, you have to read between the lines. He was addressing all of that at Kantz because he's not talking about Jessica. Go back and look at the votes. He's never done anything but vote directly with Jessica. He's always voted the way that Jessica wanted. So now let's listen to what Kantz says.
Do we have another nomination? Yes, I would oddly, strangely, like to nominate myself for president role.
Let me tell you something. For all the shit that I have blown Matt Kantz and for everything I will give him in the future, for right now, I want to say I am absolutely proud. I am proud of him for doing that. I know it had to be awkward as hell for him to say that. Listen, one thing, I don't know him very well, but what I do know of him is he doesn't like to be the odd man out. He doesn't want to be the one that speaks out of turn. And I don't think he's comfortable in those situations. And I know that this put pressure on him, that this put heat on him. And I know that this was uncomfortable. I respect him for standing up and doing what he did there. And let's listen to what Kant says.
Yes, I would oddly, strangely, like to nominate myself for president role. I ran for office 3 years ago, and at that time, two things were for sure: that I'd outwork my opponent to get elected and try to bring outside experience to county government and use that experience to drive improvements for Delaware County. I feel like over the past 2 years that's done. I've had the pleasure of being asked to serve as president pro tem by President Piper. I think we worked well together, even despite some of our differences, and I appreciate her support over the last 2 years. I think I put the work in to be at a minimum, nominated or in that position. That in and of itself, having put the work in is not necessarily worth a hill of beans, but I do think it should afford me a seat at the table and an opportunity to be voted upon. I don't miss meetings. I volunteer for, I think, the most committees on here. I take responsibility for and seriously the responsibility given to me here. I've worked hard over the last couple of years to try to drive better communication between department heads, elected officials, council. I'm available, responsive to everyone, obviously trying to provide the best advice and guidance I can based on my experience. Together with President Piper, I put in countless hours to implement our job classification system and provide ways in which salary increases could be had and leveled this year. And while this year's budget, I admit it was a painful process, I plan to hope to contribute to making that budget process more efficient and useful.
Look at Jessica sit there and be uncomfortable in this. She is absolutely uncomfortable in sitting there. She completely threw him under the bus because let me tell you, she said she supported him last night in their little clandestine meeting. No. I'm going to tell you exactly what she expected Matt to do. Just like every other person at that table, she expected Kantz to sit there with his mouth shut, to sit there like a good little dog, like the rest of them, and do what you're told. And if you do that enough, and if you eat enough shit, and if you praise us enough, and you let us do what we want to do, maybe, just maybe, one of these days, we'll throw you a bone and let you lick off the scraps. We'll throw you something from the table. That's what I think that she expected. No, I think she did not expect him to nominate himself. And I think while she's sitting there listening to him talk, I know she feels like she is about a foot tall. I know that she knows everything that he's saying is true. And it almost is like sociopathic behavior, like what they do, honestly. But I don't believe that she is. So I hope, look, this is bad of me to say, I hope this stuff hurts her. I hope that when she goes home, she thinks about this. And I hope she thinks there's like 17 people that like me. Everybody else thinks that I'm a joke. Nobody takes me serious. Everybody thinks that, I am mindless and I'm only up here, because I'm self-important and I do. It's not about serving the public, man. She's got this she's in a fairy tale that she has told herself, and she feels like she is self-important. That is what the deal is. She's very gross along with the rest of them, and she should be absolutely ashamed of herself.
I ask fair but hard questions. I strive to hold people accountable. I'm an open book, transparent and blatantly honest, maybe to a fault at times. But I would like to continue that progress I've made in those areas, working more collaboratively with commissioners, the public, and increasing the transparency and improvement that we've made in those areas. So that's why I'm making this strange self-nomination for myself. And with that said, though, regardless of how the chips fall, I am ready, able, and willing to continue that work with whomever sits in either seat moving forward. giving that same level of effort that's done to date. So, thank you. So I'll read off your names and you can cast your vote. That first off with Mr. Flanagan, Mr. Whitehead, Mr. Hughes, Eugene Whitehead, Mr. Mokel, and
Okay. So then, it didn't sound like Matt got a second, but he did. He did get a second. Mokel gave him a second. I don't know where the audio was, but Mokel gave him a second. So then the vote was between Whitehead and Cantz. Now we're hearing this, and if you notice, it showed Hughes voted for Eugene, never looked up, never looked at Cantz. I don't understand. I'm gonna ask Hughes to explain his vote. I would like him to explain his vote. I would like to know why he thought it was appropriate for them to meet clandestine. I want you to understand. I could care less about this vote. I want them all to resign because all 6 of them, plus Ed's dumbass, felt that it was okay for them to meet about this privately. And I'm not okay with that. And I think that you all should not be okay with it. I think we should all not be okay with it. It is not, I'm not okay with it. None of us should be okay with this.
at this point, Eugene receives 5 votes and I can't receive 2. James went over 2. Thank you. Yeah.
I want to know what that was, what that looked there. Look, I want to put this on a t-shirt. Watch. I'm going to get me a screenshot of this and post this. This is the backstabbing, conniving, self-important. I only do things if it benefits me and what benefits my next run and the things that make me look good and the things that benefit me. I don't care about you. I don't care about the public. I don't care about my oath. Look, this look right here, okay? See that? This look down, that shame. She is so disgusting. I don't know if she has dogs, but she doesn't deserve dogs.
We'll go right into nominations for President Pro Tem.
Mr. President, reflecting the intentions of my original motion, I'd like to nominate Vice President.
Now,
Do we have any other nominations?
I'll move to close nominations.
Second.
I get people. There's been a lot of people today that said Matt Cantz should have not accepted the vice president spot. Look, Cantz is gonna do the work, and so I get why he did. I mean, I get why people say that, but he's got to accept it. I mean, it makes him the bigger person, and Matt Cantz is the bigger person. Matt Cantz won this day. The rest of them were ridiculous, but I wanted to know if they were going to address the issue of Bookout's conflict of interest. So we're going to jump forward and let you guys hear that.
An email.
Okay, so Cantz says there was an email that came in. I sent this question in by email. I was not there. So every council meeting, the council says they have an email set up to where if people at home have questions, as long as it is a question that they can read and it makes sense, they will ask the question. And the question that I sent in was as follows. I'll read it to you. Will Bookout continue having his contracts with the county while sitting as a councilor?
There's a question coming in, Kristopher Bilbrey. Will Brad Bookout continue having his contract with the county while sitting as a councilor?
Would you like me to address that, Mr. President?
Comments for Councilor next. So
Very good. I think Mr. Bilbrey is aware of the contract Justice Consulting has with Delaware County. Contract, December 31st, 2024. Where
Okay. So, great answer there, right? Great. He said that contract expired December 31st, 2024. Currently, we do not have a contract with Delaware County, so there is no conflict at this time. So, what that means is, like all other contract employees, contracts go from year to year, and they are renewed at the beginning of each year. It's the Delaware County Commissioners that are responsible for his contract. So his contract expired on the 31st of December, and he has not been renewed by the commissioners as of yet. So we will have to be tuning in to Monday's commissioners meeting, where we'll have to determine on Monday the 6th if they will renew his contract or not. So we'll have to find out everything that happens on Monday. I'll be there. I'm going to actually go and attend because I cannot count on the audio. So I'm going to go and attend in person, and we'll find out. I guess it all comes down to what the commissioners do. Now, you want me to tell you what I think is going to happen? I think that they're going to put it in somebody else's name or do it like this, and he's going to contract through them. And we all know what's going to happen. He makes several $100,000 a year, and I just don't believe in my heart. If I'm wrong, I will apologize. I don't think that I am. So I don't know. It was a weird deal because I had to get the information secondhand, but what I gave you was close enough. I will find out. I will contact the auditor's office and see if I can get a print back of what he said, so I can find out. All I know is by the end of the day, after talking to people, that is what limited information I got. That he said basically that his whatever contract he was referring to expired on December 31st, and it's not renewed yet, and not a conflict at this time. So, well, yeah, technically it's legal at this point. And it's not like it's illegal. It just might be a conflict of interest, which if they don't deal with could be a legal issue. But that's what we're trying to find out. What legally are they going to do? How are they going to monitor what he's doing here? So that's a big question there. Please give us a like before you roll. If you haven't hit the like, make sure to hit that thumb before you go. Subscribe if you haven't, and share the show with everyone you know. Take care. God bless. Goodbye.